kitchen sink. We will chat, we will make you think. You will not want to go to the loo. You could miss a lot if you had that poo. Stay and watch and join in. Yeah! Hello! Welcome to the kitchen sink. Lucy just gave me a friggin' heart attack. Which we will chat about in a moment. But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the kitchen sink. I'm Sarah. This crazy person is Lucy Orchard. And if you're new to us, welcome. We are streaming across many different platforms. So if you're here at YouTube and Facebook and Twitch, I keep forgetting about Twitch. Sorry, Twitchers. How can I forget? Yeah, Twitch. And so if you send us a comment, we will see it. But maybe not everyone will see it because we just share our favourites. But we will all see it. So comment away. Hello, we're welcome. We're welcome. You're welcome. It's been lovely to see you. We love seeing comments. So crack on. So Lucy, how are you?
Oh, very long minutes.
So literally just right before you start, let me tell you how it's going to work. If you've not been with us before, this is how the show is. Me and Lucy faff about, wanging on about stuff for about 10 minutes, and then we have our regular sections. This week we have Opinion Place and we have Comedy Workshop, and then we have our special guest, who this week is the fantastic, very talented, extraordinary amount of output, Mr. Robbie Morgan. Yes. And then we're going to have our comedy review. And this week it is the other one, which is on BBC iPlayer. And you haven't watched it yet. Tough, don't run away to watch it. If you have watched it, fantastic. Join in when we talk about it later on. So, hi, Danny. Danny's hello. Oh, thank you. I'm going to talk about my birthday in a moment. How do I get, why is that only on my picture? Is that a new thing? Have I done something wrong? I probably have. So Lucy normally drives the ship. She is the Captain Kirk on our Starship Enterprise. I'm not much of a Trekkie, so don't question me on it. But tonight we nearly had a heart attack because, Lucy, would you like to explain?
Right, in the words of Jethro, right, that was, okay, it was about 1:45, and I thought, tell you what I'll do is I'm going to restart my computer because the software we use for
this Lucy!
It's really, really heavy, and what helps is a restart before the beginning. And I was like, I'm on this. We've got our format. We've had messages. Everything's loaded. We are on top of it. Would you like to restart? And I was like, yeah, of course I would. Then it was like, I'll do some updates then. And it was at 1%. 2%. And I'm like, no!
Come on, you piece of shit!
And I'm like,
yes,
there's no point sweating, it's fine. And then it goes, now I'm working on those updates, which I have an IT degree and I have never seen this screen in the history of my computing career. It is ridiculous.
Oh my God. I have regularly.
Update.
Is it Samsung? Do you have a Samsung? Or is it Lenovo or something like that? I don't know. I don't know why, but sometimes they just update, they just do this and it takes hours and you're like, no. So I had to very quickly, you might have seen me flash on the screen. I don't think I was on, no, it wasn't live, so you wouldn't have seen me, but I added myself to the stream before I was ready. I was like, took myself off. And then we started the broadcast and anyway, here we are. So yes, this week, do you want to ask me how I am?
I'm sorry. I'm so nervous, apologetic for what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm not in.
Lucy, chillax, babes. You're on. It's happening. The computer is on. Don't worry, because Wales. Mein Henland. Yes, on Monday. Join in, everyone. I hope those are the words. Yes, it was St. David's Day on Monday, and I was going to buy a daffodil hat, and But as a true Welsh person that I am, did not want to pay £14 for the package. £14 for a daffodil hat and for a what else is it? Oh yeah, and a scarf. I'm paying for. I could have paid £14 for that. I don't know why I didn't. It's not that much money really. But yeah, Amazon Prime charging 40. And then I remembered, oh, I've got a Wales t-shirt. That'll do. Wales. So this is me tonight. 2 years ago. Oh, and for a special occasion, I put bra on. That's why I feel like, oh, her boobs seem to be higher than they normally are. Yes, you can put a pint on them right now because of my bra, which I'm going to complain about bitterly throughout because I am not comfortable. How did we wear these for many, many years? I don't know. So let me show you what I looked like when I wore this t-shirt out 2 years ago when we could go out. St. David's Day drinks with the girls. Let me find the picture. Oh God, where is it? Where is it? Oh God, we're so organised. We've got pictures ready for next week when we're seeing Jenny and Claire next week. I started panicking already.
Breathe.
Oh, here it is. Right, ladies and gentlemen, behold. Right, okay. I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on this. Right. So there are 4 of us in this photo originally. Okay. The others looked beautiful. They were like smiling. And this is the face I pulled. What does that remind you of? What happened was, right, so we're like, oh, they're all actresses. There's Lenny Lenahan, one of our good friends, Lenny, Hannah and Kath, and they bloody, it's photos galore. It's all Instagram photos. And the last second, I'm like, oh, I'll just pull a funny face. And within half a second, thought kind of better of it. And this is the picture, and I'm like, oh my God. So not only this is now I have a sex doll face now apparently. Here it is. And what's worse is every year that frigging picture is coming up on my time hop or it's being shared. It was shared. Happy St. David's Day, everyone. And I'm like, can they not see how terrible this photo is? Why do they keep sharing? I would Photoshop me out of that. I'd put just a smiley face over that. But anyway, I just wanted to wish everyone happy St. David's Day. Say again, Lucy. My hair did look lovely. Yes, it did. Look how long it's gone now, right? Because it's desperate for a chop. But it was just that long bit there by there. That's not mine. That's Lenny's. So my hair is now as long as it was at there. So that was 2 years ago. So ladies, if you're desperate to grow your hair.
Shank.
Right, you cut out a bit there. It's not what?
I said, your hair is now as long as the dragon's shank.
Oh, yes. The dragon's shank. Do you know, that would be an amazing, like, pot roast or something in the pub, wouldn't it? Oh, let's get rid of her. Right. Slag. Oh, I hate that word. Slut. Anyway. So, St. David's Day. And we won the rugby. Oh, Super Welsh today. Oh, right. So, Hugh says, this is the quietest I've heard Lucy speak up loud. Hugh, you're meant to be in work. He's going to be late. Just about to set off for work. Have a great night. Thank you, Hugh. So that's been my week, really. Oh, and I want to wish my parents a happy 54th wedding anniversary. Sunday. Yeah, my mum's celebrating by digging out a plot for my dad in the garden. She's had a tit full of him. So, 54 years. That's mad, isn't it? So, Lucy, how are you? Are you better now? Are you more chilled now? Are you like, I'm cool?
My heart rate has definitely gone down. I swear to God, it's now on 19%. When you see my eyes flicker like that, I'm like, because I mean, I'm a control freak. The idea of you doing the tag, I'm like, oh, the poor thing, I need to do the tag, and I'm just like, my hand moves and I can't do anything.
I'm so friggin' happy for someone else to do that, to suddenly be like, oh, luckily you have trained me a little bit in previous years. And things like this, I'm here, I'm on the left. I'm on my left, probably you're right, I don't know. I don't like that. I'm normally on the other side, don't I? I look weird. I don't like being on the other side. I want to be on the other side. You better be up for it next week, lady. We're going to be there 6:30, prepping. We're going to plan next week, love.
Oh, I'm going to the night before, and that is it. And then I'm going to put it in the freezer so nothing can happen to it. I
You're
did
going to have to
session.
camp out at Holiday Inn where they've got internet or something.
I am actually. I'm going to see a property on tomorrow on Friday, and I'm actually taking my computer with me to the broadband when I get there because this show is so important to me. And if it turns out that the internet is better there, I will be doing Jenny and Claire show from there.
Brilliant. Phew. I'm so pleased. And every other show. Yes. Yeah, just go to an estate agent, say I need like 5 different keys for 5 different houses, and just go around, you know, the empty ones. Say, oh, I'm just going to check on them over the weekend, and just sit in them and go, yeah, this works. I'll just be here. Oh my God. It is breaking up. For me, anyway. Can anyone else tell? Because it might just be me. If Danny's still there, is
Ray on?
Lucy breaking up?
Is Ray woken up yet?
Ray hasn't woken up for a couple of weeks, I don't think.
Because hang on, let me just.
Okay, well, if someone can tell me if Lucy's broken up or if it's me, because sometimes it is me and I blame it all on Lucy and it's actually me. So, Danny, great, you're still here. Am I moving? Am I speaking? If you could let me know, that'd be great. Is Lucy still?
Is that any better?
Is she moving?
Is that any better?
Lucy keeps breaking up. A bit better. You fudged, right. Lucy. So Danny says you fudged.
I did a training session this week with 2 female comedians.
Nope, gone. Right.
So I just do this if you can hear.
It's breaking up. It's saying do this if you can.
Thumbs up, which means no hearing me.
I can hear that. You're breaking up a little bit. We'll just keep going, and I don't know. I can hear that. While we're worried about your internet, can I just say a massive thank you. It was my birthday last week, everyone. I was 48 years old. I know. I only tell you that because I look incredibly youthful for my age. I do have a portrait in my attic.
Happy.
Thank you. I'm assuming that's the happy birthday, but it's breaking. Lucy, very kindly, she sent me a box of cocktails. This is what they look like. Better over ice. But what I love about this, right? This is there we are. This is doing Instagram influence. So it's like the size of your hand, okay? And there's about 3/4 of that packet is liquid, right? What I love, absolutely blinking love about the instructions on the back is it says keep refrigerated and consume within 3 days. Like, who's having a little sip on that, putting it back in the fridge, and then, oh, have a little sip tomorrow, back in the fridge, and on the last day, oh, I better drink the rest. It only lasts 3 days. So, yeah, Lucy's completely gone. Oh, my word. So, huge thank you to Lucy for my cocktail. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. 21. She's not a happy bunny. Just like my cat mug. Got my cat mug this week. I know. This for the podcast. Lucy is now doing various shapes with her hands. You're on Wi-Fi? Yep. No, so it's still a little bit breaking up a little bit. I'm going to carry on chatting. Oh. I can hear the keys going, so that's good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you back. Should we put you backstage, Lucy? And then when we think we're okay again, I'll bring you back on the stream.
Come back.
Okay. So I've removed Lucy, so we'll have a chat. Hi everyone, how are you? This is fun, and right. So if you are there, Sean. Hi, Shani. How are you? How's things? Say hi. And we'll just carry on with the show, and hopefully Lucy will return very shortly. Thank you. Sean says, lovely mug and the cup. Thanks very much. I sorted my face out. You can see it now in marvelous Technicolor. You can see how many chins I've got. While Lucy's out the way, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of slimming news, because yes, I do slimming as well, because I am an adult woman, and a lot of us absolutely have to all the time. And I've been doing the Starch Solution for a long time, and at the beginning of my birthday fortnight, I was just so happy to buy all the stuff that I couldn't eat. And I managed to put on £6 in 2 weeks. I was very, very happy, really enjoyed it. And it made me think, you know what, it's too strict. So I'm on Weight Watchers now, and I've already lost £4 since Monday. So that's awesome. Lucy looks like she's ready. Anybody else out there slimming? Anybody else out there struggling? I am now going to add Lucy to the stream. I really hope she's on the left, my left. No, there we go. And I chose the right background. Hello, Lucy.
£4, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Since Monday. But that is because I did put on £6 in like a week, because I had so much crap for my birthday. It was great. I loved it. All, you know, it's still breaking up.
Focus on the good bit. You lost 4.
Okay, I am. I'm focusing on the good bit. I'm very happy I lost £4.
I said you've lost £4.
Very, very happy. Awesome. Thanks, Lucy. It's still breaking up massively.
So can you hear me now? Is that a bit better?
It's a little bit better. But what I'm going to do is take us to our first feature for tonight. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm on the wrong bit. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, isn't it always a nightmare? Isn't it always a nightmare that you think, oh, I've got all these opinions and nowhere to put them? If only there was a place that we could put our opinions. Well, luckily, we now have a place, and that is Opinion Place.
Opinion Place, Opinion Place. Say what you want, right to my face.
I love that. I made that. That's my voice now. Opinion Place, Opinion Place.
So,
say what you want, right to my face. Lucy, have you got any opinions this week?
can you hear me if I have?
I could just about hear that. But I'm very happy to give you my opinion. If you want.
You go first. Go
okay.
First.
So, right. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. So I've got such a big opinion, and that is bras are overrated. Yes, I know. Shocking. I'm dropping some truth bombs right now, because like I was saying earlier, I haven't been wearing a bra all through the pandemic. It's been lush. And when I first started just going vest wise, now what happens? I've got quite big boobs, and the thing is, if you've got larger breasticles, and you're getting older, they tend to drop quite a bit. And when I was out and about, it's not that I cared. It was more that, you know, this is what you do. You wear a bra, isn't it? If you're a woman, now or a man. I'm not. You know, I'm not. Whatever you are, you can wear a bra if you want. You can put one on your cat or your dog. Entirely up to you, as long as there's consent involved. But I'm finding that there's no like. It's like I put this bra on for tonight, and already I'm like, I can't wait to get it off. There's like, guys, if you own a bra related factory, if you could please, surely it's 2021. Can't we invent a bra that women can wear? It's going to keep our breasts up a little bit. We don't want to have like new chins up here. You know, we want them fairly placed together. We just want to enhance what we've already got. Surely someone somewhere could invent a bra that does that and is also comfortable. Because they all say they're comfortable and they're absolutely not. They're a pain in the boob area, isn't it? Lucy, are you ready for some? What do you think? She thinks it's time to get a new house, new internet. Right. Yes, she agrees with me.
I don't wear them.
You don't wear bras at all? God, you're lucky. What do you wear then? Let the little...
God will know.
God will know. Do you think... the only reason I've worn them in the past, I tend to get like a false sense of security. Because you'll know this, being in comedy, right? Everyone wants to hug you. And even now in the wild, people hugging is a thing now. And I don't get, well, like when I was younger, you only hugged if you were on holiday in France. Now everyone's hugging for any reason. And like post-pandemic now, I'm just terrified of what's going to happen because people are just going to be so hug heavy, hug crazy. And I'm going to have to wear a bloody barbed wire vest to keep people off me. Not that I'm saying that people are going to be desperate to hug me in particular. I just think they're just going to hug a lot. And it's more that you don't know what kind of hug you're getting. Is it a nice friendly hi hug, which is preferable, or is it some sleazy creepy guy giving you a full body hug because it's okay because it's comedy? I don't know anymore, and I've had too many of the full creepy, like, oh, my boobs are now at the back on my back now because you're squeezing me so hard. You know, one of those hugs. Just not keen. So with a bra with a lot of like padding, it kind of gives you a little bit of protection against that. Not loads. Maybe I should just put like nails in the nipple area. So if they squeeze too hard, they get like, I don't know, impaled. That would be good, wouldn't it? So this is what the kitchen sink is like if I'm left to my own devices. And last week, my friend watched and she said, oh, that'd be really nice, you know. I wonder what it would be like when you're on your own. And I went, it would not be good. It's not a good idea. And here we are. This is exactly what the sink. This is why we need Lucy on the show. Right. Hello.
Right. How about now? How about now?
Yes. And fuck for that. Right. Hello.
Hello.
We are the champions, my friends. Oh my God, I'm going to shut up for half an hour now. Off you go.
Right, okay, right. First of all, can I just go back to what happened this week? I did a StreamYard tutorial for 2 female comedians. And I took everyone out of the studio and put everyone back in, but in a different order, and no one liked it. And I sometimes do that to you just to wind you up.
And I've not noticed.
Because you go, I don't like it. I don't like it. You made that. I don't know.
I don't like it being on this side. It's weird because you're on first. Normally you're on what I see as my left, and it's being on this. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in charge. This is the captain seat, and it's not working for me. I like to have someone to blame.
My opinion this week. Right, my opinion this week. First of all, computer updates can stick it up their fucking asses.
God, yes.
Only on 20.
It's getting its revenge now because it started breaking up again. The minute you said updates, could stick it up their arse, I went, well, screw you. And he started blanking again.
I pressed it 36 minutes ago. There is nothing in the world that should take 36 minutes, and I include sexual intercourse.
What have you learned from this? What will you do differently next time? I'm going to be sat here 24 hours early next week. Ready.
I know.
For Jenny and Claire. Mad, isn't it?
So my opinion this week is have a chat with yourself if you have a dog that barks aggressively or yaps aggressively. Because I have a phobia of dogs. I was bitten on the face when I was about 6. So I have a phobia, and only by being sort of exposed to therapy, where I've met dogs, the same dogs over and over and over again, that I don't, when I see them, I don't go in where I don't know them, I'm out. I'm 17 miles down the road. I'm not looking back. And our truck driver, there'll be dogs at the bottom of the cab yapping and barking, and I'm not getting out the cab. That's just, it's just not happening. And today I had a gate with a dog on the other side that was barking and barking, and he looked like just a pair of teeth with legs. It was just
pair of teeth.
Just one of those.
Just
I suppose what. Just he looked like just a yappy little shit, and I just thought, no, not bothered. So I said, don't worry, I'll turn the truck around and I'll go back to where I came from. And they were like, what? And I was like, well, I'm not getting out of the cab, not with that there. They then changed their minds, but I shouldn't have to admit that I am here to drive a truck. I am here to deliver you things, but I'm not here to be bitten by your bastard little dog.
Yes.
I'm not the prick.
Lucy.
I am not the prick here. It just no.
Yeah, I think it's a fair opinion. If you have a dog, train it, not to kill. That would be preferable.
And please, if you are a dog owner, if you're a dog owner and you've ever used this phrase, oh, it's just because he's excited, fucking slap yourself.
Absolutely. Okay. And now Lucy's broken up again.
Oh, you can sod off.
Oh no, that I can hear that. That's okay.
I haven't.
Cool.
Okay.
Might have a little
I was going to say that's not fair. That's not fair. Don't do this to me.
Lucy, let's have a quick confab,
yes,
because our fantastic guest is frequenting our spare room, not our spare room,
our
dining area. Well, have you put out any treats in the dining area this week, Lucy? Or are you too busy fiddling about with the computer?
No. This week I have gone and got a selection of ready salted peanuts, roasted peanuts, and I've also got some Bombay mix from the organic shop.
Oh my God, you're really putting on a spread. We got any mini sausage rolls?
I ate them.
And you did? Or just, here's some dry stuff that I found in the park. Enjoy. Remind me not to come to you for a buffet. Right, ladies and gentlemen. You're so good because you put on the spread every week. We're about to do... She's spreading something every week anyway. Right, so we are about to introduce... She can't say anything because her computer's frozen. It's our special guest time. She's going to kill me later. I'm genuinely scared. Ladies and gentlemen, so I'm so pleased to announce our special guest this week, Mr. Robin Morgan, who has written for amazing shows like Have I Got News For You and The Now Show and Newsjack. I hope Newsjack as well. I didn't really Google it. I didn't check. I thought, yeah, he probably has. I put that on there.
He's bound to.
Extremely prolific. 11 years ago, maybe 12, when I started, and I was like, oh, I think I can say words on stage. Robin also started, and now he's a full-on professional, and I'm doing this. So, which is also awesome, before Lucy slaps me. Right, I love Robin's jokes. They're funny, they're succinct, they're fantastic. He tells a story. He's one of my favourite acts. Give it up for the fantastic Robin Morgan! Oh, hang on. Hi, Robin. Hang on. I've got to do this for you. Sorry. Robin
yes. That is. I'm glad you interrupted me with that sting. That's great. I love that. That's perfect.
Thank you, Robin. I made that myself.
It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Thank you very much. So very much welcome to the show. I have to introduce you to Lucy because she always tells me off for not introducing her. Lucy, this is Robin. Robin, this is Lucy.
Hi, Lucy. How you doing?
Hello. We met briefly last night.
We did. Lucy was very, very helpful during a gig last night as well, where I was having to work out a audience member who was kind of having a conversation at the back of the camera, and I couldn't figure out who it was as host. But Lucy DM'd me on Zoom and said, and dobbed somebody in. I was like, oh yeah, it is them. I'm going to mute them.
Lucy's brilliant for that. I'm so glad because I did that or something similar at another Zoom gig and I got called out. I think it was Danny that was on last night called me out for it. So
no
like,
way.
"Ooh, look at you putting everyone under the bus." And I was like, oh no, I am stuck in some shoes. Just trying to help.
Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
So last night that was Buffering, and that is your new open mic night, is it not?
Yes, so me and Esseteers, maybe, well, it would have been about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, thought of just sort of do it. I mean, we started the year, wanted to sort of put on that kind of night where there's no real pressure, because we all like miss those new material night, open mic nights type stuff, not only from the point of it forces you to write and you get to try stuff out, but also from a social point of view of actually sort of like seeing other comics and hanging out and kind of having that sort of social life thing. So yeah, we tried to sort of make that online. I feel like it's got a nice regular crowd and it feels like a nice atmosphere, you know.
It has got an absolutely lovely vibe, and as you know, I never like to pay to go and watch comedy at all if I can help it, but I'm actually paying to come and watch this because it's so much fun and it's just nice. And like last night Matt Reese was in the audience and Pippa Loader was in the audience. I was like, oh Matt, not enough to actually get on the chat and go hi, but it was nice. Let's go, oh, it's nice to face. Yeah, it's such a good gig. I really love it. So, how has your lockdown been? Oh my word, nearly a year.
Yeah, nearly a year. So, shit and then okay and then good, I think. So me and my wife and family moved out of London and back to Cardiff last December, like last Christmas 2019, trying to get a house, and then lived with my mother-in-law for 3 months and then managed to get this place where I am now. And then we moved in April last year. So and then we were like doing stuff like around the house and moving in and all that kind of shit. So the first kind of like month or two of lockdown was kind of distracted, and I didn't really miss the fact that I wasn't gigging because I had stuff to do. And then as we kind of settled in, I was like, because I remember in early March, I'm not going to say who it is, but someone on their Facebook status, a comic, said it's okay to feel like completely like bereft and lost and sort of like heartbroken because we have lost what makes us who we are. We have lost the fact that we're comics. And I was like, that's a bit much, mate. It's a bit much. and then 2 months in, I was like, oh shit, no, he was right. Like I think I really do define myself by being a comic. And I think it took a couple of months for me to realize that, and how, without that, then what am I? And it kind of like a bit of an existential crisis. I think also the fact that we had no money like coming in was also a bit of an issue. But luckily Rishi Sunak has been giving me pocket money for a year. So, but it's okay. And then I've been enjoying kind of putting the kids to bed and doing sort of bedtimes, things that like I haven't really I never thought I'd be able to do this year. Like my daughter's 18 months now, and I thought when we moved back here, all of my life would be going to London for writing jobs and for stuff. So it's been a godsend in that sort of respect.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think like at the beginning, I mean me in particular, but I know there was the slight immediate panic, but like, oh shit, all my gigs are gone. But like pretty quickly, I think many people are like, oh great, I get to stay home. Because as a comedian, you're constantly, especially on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday night, you could be going all over the country if you're performing stand-up live. So that was like a bit of a relief. And then, it makes sense. Like, and then you're like, but how do I pay the bills? Yeah. And it is a bit shocking when you see like fantastic acts like, I won't name names in case they're like, oh, thanks for, but I'm not sure if they want it that public, but like amazing acts that are like working for, nothing that is wrong with Amazon Prime. But maybe, not Amazon Prime, Amazon. Like maybe not jobs that are certainly not in comedy, and it's just hard. It's tricky then, isn't it? But yeah, oh god, I've put myself into a chatty cul-de-sac then.
Not at all.
It's been interesting to see people diversify because they've had to. Is what Sarah's saying.
Oh, definitely, and I think like I guess the sort of seeing people get on Twitch early doors, like Bilal Zafar and people kind of who've really kind of like created a niche for themselves, and I think long term now will have that platform and stuff. For them as an industry, as an income stream. Like in the first couple of, I remember when we first moved in here, I had just joined a freelance website where basically I put in kind of like a jobs website where I looked for any sort of writing jobs going, and I applied for everything, just thinking I don't know what money's going to come in. I remember I applied for this job of writing a screenplay that they needed in 2 weeks, and I wrote a 90-page film based off a treatment in 2 weeks for I think about £100, and I was like, oh, okay, so I can do that then. That's fine. Yeah. I'll just write a film I'll write 10 films a month, and it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all going to be great. Like the first couple of ideas will be great, and then by the end, it's like, here's a treatment, and it'll just be 1 page at the front, then 10 million blank pages, and then at the end, and it was all a dream.
yeah, exactly. Hey, don't knock it. Inception, baby. Inception.
yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So, oh gosh. So,
I was going to say the minute lockdown happened, my creativity just went bang. I was writing every single week. I was just like, I piss people that aren't as creative as me. I'm in charge of the world. And then all of a sudden, it all just went. And I couldn't even write my own fucking name. It just went out of the window. I was being judged by stationery. It's sort of like I went so high, so fast, and then just and then I started hating people online because they were like, oh yeah, I write every day. And I'm like, sod you, I cry every day.
Yeah. It's so hard. I think like to be able to sort of have that creativity and stuff and kind of feel like I had a couple of jobs already in, so I had a couple of news quiz writing jobs in, so that gave me like you're writing on this topic, and that was okay, I think. But from my own point of view, like I think I was trying to write bits and bobs and like scripts and stand-up ideas and stuff, but for me I could not think of any. I think because we were in limbo, like our whole lives were in limbo. We didn't like March, April, May last year, we didn't know what was going to happen, so
we didn't know if we were going to live or die.
Totally. I mean, like it's hard to kind of put yourself in that like externally from that when you're so close to living it. I think like it took me until really live gigs started happening outdoors last year, so what was that, sort of July, August time, for me to even like write anything. The first couple of live gigs I did, it felt like I was lying, because I was just doing my old set about, hey, I got married a few years ago, I've got kids, and it's just like, yeah, but that a pandemic is happening, right? Like you're aware this is happening. So it took me a little while to kind of like adapt. I feel like stuff was moving past it, I suppose, but it's very strange to kind of still feel creative. I think that whole, when people started like, Shakespeare wrote King Lear, like, yeah, but
it's a bit shame.
Didn't have Netflix.
Yeah, and he was in London, and all his family were in Stratford, so no distractions.
Exactly.
Upstart Crow is to be believed, and I believe it. So so that's what I wanted to ask you about, because I've known you for many years, and I always remember, we used to gig in Drones in Cardiff, which is in Chapter Arts, and I remember it's just such a fun time. And I remember you as someone who'd come in, you were always so professional, and you'd go up and you'd do your set, and I'd be like, oh my God, he's so good early on. And then he kind of disappeared, and then suddenly it was like, oh, he's got writing credits on like what I would consider proper, news stuff, like not just Radio Wales, which is fantastic, and also like, proper BBC programme,
Yeah.
fantastic. So what I wanted to ask you was like, was that your plan? Was that your career, or did you go to uni and think, right, that's what I want to do, or did you kind of fall into it? How are you so good so early, Robin?
Well, let's preface this with that's too kind. Firstly, no, I don't think I ever thought this was a career. Like so I worked at the Glee in Cardiff.
I forgot that.
Behind the bar. So when I was at uni, I was working behind the bar there for a couple of years, and then I wanted to be a journalist. So I had a course, and I had a place on a master's course in Cardiff Uni to do, I think, broadcast journalism or magazine journalism, and that started in 2010. And that summer, I did my first gig at Drones, and I wanted to be Charlie Brooker. I wanted to write funny articles. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, now he writes TV shows and stuff. That's cool. And I always loved stand up and always kind of wanted to write TV, that kind of stuff. But then I thought, this is like, and Charlie Brooker was a journalist, and then he did this. So I kind of tried to follow his path. And then once I started to get a few little paid gigs, like sort of 20, 30 quid paid gigs, I was like, let's just try this for a bit. So I deferred the course for a year. And by the time that year had finished, I was getting, I was doing, not like any point professional, but like it felt like, this is kind of more what I want to do than learn how to do a serious news segment for ITV Wales and then sidestep that, and it was like 10 grand for the course. I was like, oh
yeah, oh god, yeah.
So yes, so then just like dicking around stand up for a while. The Glee were always very supportive. Like when I had a So You Think You're Funny heat in September in 2011, and I asked Lee, the manager, whether I could do like a 5-minute spot that like a couple of weeks before I went up in August, and then that started the Thursday open spots again in Cardiff. So from like 2011, like 10 spots started becoming a thing there. So I feel like, like it was Lee as well, but I feel like that was really good for the scene around that time, because it gave people like, that is a goal, that is something that you can work towards. And I think it created a level of weird competition as well, which I guess happens with any kind of close-knit scene. But so I was doing okay, and then my wife was applying for teaching jobs in South Wales, couldn't really get any. I at that point gigged a couple of times in London. I was like, have you looked for jobs in London? Like, I never wanted to move there and drag her away. I wanted it to be a both of us thing, and luckily it worked for her as well. Managed to get an agent, and then she started putting me up for lots of writing jobs. But by that point, I'd already done like a few Radio Wales things, so I kind of like got okay at writing topical stuff. I'd submitted stuff for Newsjack, but I never wanted to do topical comedy. I thought, I'm not smart enough to do this. I don't know what my own opinions are on these things. I don't really care. I did politics as a degree, but I don't really care about it. And, but I think that is the route. Especially at Radio 4, that seems to be the route. If you have to do Newsjack, you have to do topical comedy, which I think is a shame, really, because that's shutting out a lot of people immediately who think, I don't like topical stuff, but B, it might not work for them. They might do longer form stuff that's better, but they can't fit through this hole. But yeah, that's a long-winded way of saying it was not a plan.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Thanks, Rob. Because especially, like, remember back in the day, I was like, what were your memories of that time? Because when I started out at Drones, I think I started doing Drones every few months. And, it was tiny, it was really, small. And then the scene grew over a number of years. And I'm not trying to trip you up here at all, but it became more competitive, shall we say. And I think that happens with any group, really. But what were your memories? You mentioned about it being a bit more competitive and it being a bit weird. Do you have any odd memories then? Or
yeah, definitely. I think, like, I imagine, when you go into sort of various little sub Facebook groups of sort of regional comedy, you always tend to say, oh, fucking hell, that's kicking off. And then you go, oh, I'll try and subscribe to that, read it. I think Cardiff's or South Wales's, was hindered by the Welsh Unsigned Stand-Up Award, which I think was a brilliant prize. But for every year, we were all put against each other in this thing where we were judged against our peers quite regularly. And, you know, like as a competition, incredible first prize, like weekend of the Glee, £1,000. That's that's better than a lot of like stand-up competitions anyway. But I think for our own development, that put a lot of people against each other. Whereas you look at the Bristol scene now, and maybe I'm seeing this from an outsider's point of view, but it seems so supportive and lovely, and they write together, and they kind of it feels like they're lifting each other up. And I think that's a Mark Olver thing as well, who I think is, you know, like he's cultivated like loads of different generations of stand-up throughout that. Whereas, there definitely were kind of like factions and stuff. I tried to sort of keep myself out of it as much as possible. Really, like I worked every weekend at the Glee, so I did the midweek gigs, and then I went home to see my girlfriend, like now wife, because that was our only evenings together. So I never stuck around. I did my set and went. And I think some people didn't like that. They didn't think that I was kind of like hanging around and trying to sort of chat. And I feel like I didn't have many sort of like close friends within the scene, I suppose. We saw cliques kind of like rising. Maybe not cliques, maybe just like friendship groups.
Cliques.
Yeah, absolutely. But I always try to stay, and I think I've always done it. I've always tried to stay outside of that and just kind of, I'm just desperate for everybody to like me. So, so it's easier for me to stay nice to everybody. I hope I was anyway. I mean, like,
absolutely.
But they're
You're
definitely
just very nice and very professional, and I think like looking back, obviously hindsight is amazing. I kept forgetting that I was a good 10 years older than everyone else that was performing at the same time, at least 10 years older, and I just kept forgetting that, because sometimes things would happen. And also I was kind of going and seeing very much like, I love comedy, but I've struggled to like work on it, because I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And, you know, I can go on stage and just fanny about, which, you know, to be a professional comedian, you need to work on the material. And I spent way too long going, okay, so my process is to go up on stage, fanny about, and hopefully something will come from it. Spent way too long. It took me like 5 years to learn, you've actually got to edit. And even like with Worcester, I agree. It was kind of great, but I know exactly where you're coming from, and I'd agree. It'd be interesting to think, well, what would have happened without it? But on the flip side, it made me kind of a better comedian in a way. In that I was like, I just got it in my head that I'm going to make it to the final, because the first year they put me through to the semi-final on a wild card, and I think I might have got straight through, and I shouldn't have. I mean, I remember on the night, I think Pete Dobbin was on the night, and it was between, in my mind, might have been different with the judges, but I felt like it was, you know, when I went through, I went, but it should have been Pete. It should have been Pete. He was better. You know, I literally went up and did my songs and talked to the floor because I was so nervous. And I think it was Scott that was doing it that year, and he said, oh, well, you know, you're just something a bit different. That's why you went through. But I wasn't a good act in any way, shape or form. But it made me think next year, I'm like, oh, I'm in with a chance then. And then when I didn't go through, I think I went through in a wild card again. Anyway, it just made me go, I just need to crack what the hell this thing is. And it's only bloody 5 minutes. And as you know, I'm chatty, so not everyone can do a good 5 minutes. But it really kept me kind of working at that. But I could have been looking for other opportunities. But it's, you know, hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, it's been interesting, I guess, the last few years. Like, I felt like when I moved away for a bit, I kind of tried to sort of, I still ran Buffalo for a little while, so I kind of kept my toes in. And when that stopped, I kind of just like, because I think there was a lot of infighting at that point, and I kind of just like switched off from it a little bit.
I think you're so wise to do that.
Yeah, it's just I just think life's far too short to be you know, and there's valid conversations to be had about a lot of things within comedy and a lot of things within the scene. But I in terms of like Facebook arguments and things, I just think they are so time consuming.
Yes. Yeah.
And at the moment, I would rather either write or see my family.
Yes, because you're married and you have children, and you're actually, because it feels very much like sixth form. So it's very
Sure.
exciting because you're like, there is that bit of gossip, and when you're going around and driving in a car with people in your kind of year group, it's so much fun because the first sort of 6 years, all anyone talks about is like comedy theory. And then you kind of grow out of that a bit, and you're like, I can't have another conversation about what a good comedy word is. I can't do it, but then you might be in a car with newer people. They're desperate to have that conversation, and that's when you're like, oh yeah, I'm out of this year group now because I would rather talk
That's
about.
so true. I hadn't thought of it that way. That is so true.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm sorry, but yeah, there was just such a lovely time, and I was like, "What happened?" To me, it was like the wilderness years. It's also a bit like in school, it felt like not that I'm saying this about you, but when people, because I had my own stuff going on and thinking like, "What's happening?" A day job, and you're not necessarily thinking in terms of having a career in comedy, but I did towards the last few years, been like, I've got to do it. It's a challenge now, and I can't seem to get rid of it. And I want to be a good comedian, write good jokes, get on stage and do a really good set, and have people enjoy themselves and stuff. But and I've forgotten my train of thought. What was I going to ask? But yeah, that's why I wanted to ask about those days, because I felt like, oh yeah, because when you've got the kids in school and they're all like, oh yeah, I'm not revising for my exams, and then they get straight A's, and you're a bit like, what? You said you weren't revising.
Yeah.
But people do really well. I'm like, hang on a minute, are we all just meant to be doing open mics? Why are you in open mic? You'll be working, right?
It's tricky, isn't it? I think like you see those kind of like, I remember, so I guess Matt Rees started very similar to like when I started and stuff, and then he was, I think it must have been 2012, 2013, was just winning every single award, like going. But he's a comedy god, and he's a nice guy, and it just felt like, yes, that's of course that's happening.
Yes.
And it was nice to see kind of like, oh, he's winning like the Laughing Horse and the Leicester Square, and it kind of like, for me at least, went, oh shit, there's stuff outside of this circle that we're in.
Yeah.
And seeing a sort of path through, because like before I started working at the Glee, I think I only thought there were like 10 comedians. There was like the people on Mock the Week, there was Eddie Izzard, Peter Kay, and Lee Evans, and then that was it. Whereas then I worked at the Glee, and I was like, oh shit, there's like 4 every weekend, and it's new people every weekend, and there's a whole level of like the circuit, which is
who are all these white guys?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in 2008, fucking yes. All these bald white men bitching about their wives and children.
Yeah. Why are they still married to their wives if they hate them so much?
Why are they
Why?
trying to cheat on their wives at the Glee Club disco? Why are they trying to do that?
Oh yeah. And there's so many other clubs, and it's there was a lot out there. I mean, there's obviously pandemic less now, but even before that, and I remember doing competitions like at Highlight.
Yeah.
I loved the Highlight clubs, and doing those competitions did make you feel like, oh, I can progress, so I can get out. My thing has always been to get better at comedy. Every time I perform, I just want to be better at the art of it. The art or craft, as Costas Lucaris says. But I'd love to see. It feels like it's shrinking a bit now because there were less and less clubs. What I consider professional clubs with the purpose-built buildings like the Glee. And now I've done open spots at the Glee a few times, and it's been brilliant because you get really good feedback in terms of it's good, it's constructive, and it makes you think, oh, great, right, okay, I've got feedback. Because I feel like it's a real myth. Like when I started, there were so many people going, oh, well, comedy, you've either got it or you haven't, you're born with it or you're not. And I just think that's fucking bullshit. But yeah, sorry if there are any children nearby. But it's just rubbish, isn't it? Because it is something that can be learned. There's bits of it that can't, I don't think, but bits of it can be. But it's struggling with all the mental stuff as well, isn't it? Really.
I think the percentages of talent versus everything else is talent is very, very low down. If you want to, I think perseverance and the ability to do admin, I think, is quite high.
Yeah.
and then
Can
just
you
not
do
being
emails?
yeah, exactly. Can you do emails and just not being a fucking knob? I think that's quite high up the list.
Yes. And I know we talked about Cardiff,
I was
but it's everywhere. Every community will have that issue.
But-
Sorry, Lucy.
it's not just community it's not just comedy that does this. I was listening to the Gospel of RuPaul and Michelle Visage, What's the Tea? And they were saying across the board, you will meet people that are 100% talent. They are so talented. But if they haven't got that God of Eve, that ability to drive or push themselves forward, doesn't count. And the people that always succeed aren't always the talented, but you have to have a little bit of everything. I know I am not the most talented comedian, but fuck me, am I ferocious and persistent and prolific.
It's quite scary. Terrifying.
That's how I got her.
Terrifying. But yeah, but I'm not enough of that.
But the thing is as well, though, like if you are that ferocious and persistent, that sort of quote unquote talent or your ability will grow and grow and grow through that sort of 10,000 hours thing as well. If you're willing to put in that amount of effort, you know, at the ground floor, and of course you're going to be successful because it's bound to happen. You know, you're going to get better because you know you find your, you know, what you were saying, Sarah, about kind of like being 5 years in and kind of going, oh, it's not just about dicking around, it's about editing. Like, it took me fucking ages to sort of find out. Like, I felt like I looked like a comedian on stage. Like, I knew what to do, and I kind of like, because I watched it for like 2.5 years every single weekend, 3 times a week, I knew what a comedian looked like. And then it took me ages to work out how to write a joke, which I think was through the Radio Wales stuff, how to edit, and through Twitter was really helpful, how to sort of edit words and work out stuff. And then it was only really, I'd say, like 3 years ago, I kind of found my voice, like what I want to say on stage and kind of how I, or, you know, like what I feel like I want to talk about. It takes fucking ages to, well, for some people I'm sure it doesn't, but like for me it did.
And you don't realize, like, at the time you're like, I wish people would enjoy the moment without meaning, well, I'm going to sound wanky now, right? But enjoy the moment more, because it does pass. That traveling in comedians with people that have started at the same time as you passes. And once it passes, you're like, oh, okay, I really wish I'd stopped and gone, this is brilliant. I'm loving this. This is so much fun. And recognize that one day that's not going to happen because other people either give up or people will progress and get on, you know, and you're all going to sort of spread out and you find your people, but it's never quite the same. And you know, it's quite the journey, guys, but it really is.
Oh,
and yeah. I know, I'm sorry, but as you work through and you keep working on it, it's just so much fun. But I wanted to ask, right, so we have a regular listener, watcher, Hugh Janus, and when he's here, he always asks an amazing question. He's not here because he has to work tonight. And
he does the research that we're supposed to do.
It's scary how forensic his research is. So I apologize in advance if you're like, this guy is clearly a stalker. But here's the question of Hugh Janus. Okay. Hi, Sarah. Since I'll be stuck at work again on Thursday, here's Hugh's 2-part question.
Nice.
So here we go. You went to uni, you'll be fine with this. So, what was going through your mind during the Year 4 class assembly when you pulled your football shirt over your head, exposing those weird shaped nipples? And feel free not to answer any of this. And were your predictions ever correct whilst writing horoscopes for your student newspaper? Human, I think you surpassed yourself there.
The second question I'm fine with. The first one is, I don't know where he's heard that, because that is true.
Oh my God. Is it on your Facebook anywhere? Is it online anywhere?
I think
we don't want to be on the receiving end of his research, so we push him towards the guests.
It must have been on a podcast or something. Or like I definitely must have tried that as a bit at some point. Basically, I was a very shy kid, and in Year 4, I had a teacher who I really, really liked, and we talked about football a lot. And then I think for like the end of year school play, we had to do like a little sort of acting thing. It was the first time I'd done like any sort of like acting. And it was like the match of the day theme tune. I kind of like fake kicked a ball and then celebrated by putting like, you know, as footballers do. And I remember getting a laugh, and I was like, "This is fucking cool."
Yeah.
And I think so. Maybe that's, I don't know, unless he's like was
Maybe
in my
he's
year. No, but I feel
In
like
defense of you, he's not going through your bins. If he's found
Sure.
it, you have put this shit out somewhere.
Yeah, no, totally. Like I imagine that's so what did he say about my nipples? Sorry, can I hear that again?
He said,
Great quote. That's the show quote.
literally, quote, exposing those weird-shaped nipples.
So that's probably an example of me trying a bit of new stuff and then embellishing the end of it because it's not funny enough yet, and then trying to panicking and trying to get a gag. I'm not saying that I don't have weird shaped nipples, but I feel like that's probably something my brain has done during saying something out loud to try and end on a laugh. That's very me.
Either that, or your wife somehow knows this guy.
Yeah,
Sent him a quick email.
Maybe it's my wife. I have no idea.
And you used to predict horoscopes.
Yeah, so when I was trying to be a journalist, in uni, I wrote for the student paper, and I sort of pitched an idea of being like a sort of funny horoscope guy. And I just kind of phoned it in for a year. Like I did it in my last hour show. I talked about it, and it was just for Leo, which is me. I always did it really sort of like happy, and everyone else it was just really fucking dark and bleak. But to my knowledge, I don't think that I predicted anything true. I should go. I think my mum's house, like I've still got like a pile of these Guy Reeve student newspapers from Cardiff Uni, where they're probably in there. I was called Mystic Smeg, which was kind of very, very of the time, let's say.
Brilliant. I'd be trying to think of a pun on Jonathan Kainer if I was doing it now.
Nice.
But he's died. He's died, but his son is still. Yes, Lucy.
Yeah, I did know Jonathan.
You knew Jonathan Kainer?
Could you possibly go? Yeah, my friend was his assistant. Really nice guy, actually. I don't know his son, but
did he go on
Sarah,
the road?
I have been inside his Winnebago, which is painted in all sort of Native American designs and stuff like that. Yes, he did a lot of festivals. He sponsored a lot of festivals I worked at. Absolutely adorable guy. But Sarah, could you go to the pictures that we have in the side of the computer?
Yes.
And the images, and could you just? There's one that's called Robin. That looks like a group shot. Could you just pop that up on the screen for me? Could you describe what we're seeing here?
I knew it would be this one. I knew it would be.
I did not know about this.
It's too good not to.
Which one are you?
I will go from left to right.
Okay.
Left on the far left is a man called James, who is the lead singer in the death metal band Black Despondency. Second on the left is Steve. In the middle is Pete. Then there's me, and then there's the drummer called Neil. So I would have been 15, 16.
God.
And I just shaved my head because I tried to grow my hair really long. As you can probably see, it's the thickest thing in the world and just becomes an afro, which unless the barber's open, this will turn into that at some point. Although I'm having a sneaky illegal haircut soon, which I can and can't. Basically, I've got my first ever acting job this year, which I can't. I've signed an NDA, so I can't talk about what it is. But I get to have.
So far, you're doing really well.
I get to have an illegal haircut, which I'm really excited about.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell
I know.
anyone.
Let's not stream it, right?
Did you hear about the women in Swansea? I'm like, oh, only in Swansea. Having their hair dyed in a car park.
Yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? Like, was it like a little car park or something?
I think so. I'm like, oh, guys, just, go around someone's house. Be illegal, like indoors. Less likely to get done. Hilarious. I wouldn't have picked you out
I
of a police lineup on that. I would.
No, I
wouldn't.
shaved my head.
My mum
weeks
was on
before
the
that.
guy that you said was extreme far left. I don't know if that was his positioning or his political standing.
Yeah. Oh, Corbyn on the left, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, fab. Oh, we've got Clyde. Hi, Clyde. Hi, gang. We haven't had any comments since 7:15, but we have definitely got people watching. So I was starting to think, oh, maybe everyone's. Lucy, do you want to check your Facebook? For some reason, her Facebook doesn't. The comments don't come through. So maybe everyone's on Lucy's wall. Now, I'm very conscious of time. Robin, you've been such a love. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting on the show and having these. I should have read Hugh's question a bit more carefully.
No, I need to check where I've said that. Actually, can you find out? Can you ask him?
I'll ask him. He watches this.
Really,
he's one of our regular watchers, and he'll be listening to this. He's catching up because we're on YouTube, and YouTube it's like our a filing cabinet, so it stays on YouTube. So yeah, so he'll be watching that. So hopefully tomorrow, Hugh, you can tell. That's not his real name, by the way. You can tell us what's going on and send me a tweet, love, yeah. So I'm so conscious that you've given us so much for your time.
But before Robin goes, we had comments. One was from Luke, a comedian who we've had on one of the other shows from Canada, who says comedy isn't just stand-up; it's producing shows, writing, editing, it's all part of the process. So that he was joining on that one. But we have a message from a young man in Wales who's really getting ahead of the game. I think he's got his order in here 11 months early. I love Robin Morgan. Will you ask him if he will be my Valentine next year? And that is from a young Simon Emanuel.
Oh, bless Simon. Yes, I will leave my wife and children for you. I will. You heard it, but I'll do it in like 10 months.
Exclusive. We break up families.
That is an excellent choice. I fully recommend that. Oh, Robin, you've been so brilliant. Thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Do you have a Twitter handle that you would like people to follow you, or anything you'd like us to put up on the chat so people can find you?
Yes. I'm on Twitter, Robin Jay Morgan. On Instagram and Facebook, Robin J Morgan, just the letter J. It's really annoying. There's basically some fucking prick who's got the Robin J Morgan handle on Twitter, who his account has been hacked. All it is like Ray-Ban spam, and I really want his handle, but I don't know how to get it. So if anyone can get me his handle, that's great. Do that. And also, I do a podcast with Priya Hall and Layla Navabi called Here to Judge, and basically it's us kind of looking at Mumsnet threads and Reddit, am I the arsehole type stuff, and basically sort of working out who's in the right, who's in the wrong. And we've been doing it since the start of the year, and it's really, really fun, and I'm really, really proud of it. So it's called Here to Judge, and you can get it at podcasts, wherever you get podcasts.
Oh, that's brilliant.
At podcast.com, I don't know.
I'm busy
Write them
typing
in
up
W.H. Smith. They're next to the little card.
You get a free bottle of water with each podcast.
And I've listened to a little bit of that, and it is hilarious. So defo check it out, everyone. Robin, is there anything else you'd like to say before we bid you adieu?
Really. It's really lovely. I could carry on for like an hour and a half. Like, honestly, this has been so nice to chat to you both. Thank you for having me.
Oh, our absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back.
Do you have any?
Ask you to come back soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you happen to have a? Do you have a colleague or a friend that you would recommend to the show?
What as to come on? I'd have to say Layla or Priya, really. I mean, they're both really, really good comics, and they've both got they're both so funny, and they're going to be so famous. So yeah, get them on now. And kind of like Clint, he probably won't do it because he doesn't respond to texts. So If you can if you can DM Clint via the chess app that he plays chess on, then then I'm sure he'd love to do it. He's genuinely, I think, one of my favorite people in the world, and he's been so supportive.
We've nearly had Clint. We've had Clear, so that means we're going to have to ask her.
Great.
Perfect. That is so Clint. Chess, the philosopher, and chess.
Yeah. He's my favorite person. He's brilliant. He's been so supportive. He gave me my first ever gig. Like I expect to ride his coattails to success. I cannot wait.
I can't wait to watch it either. Oh, can I just say as well, quick. I loved your show year before last. The What a Man.
Oh, thank you.
Loved that show. Are you working on anything else before you go? Are you going to work on a new show soon?
So technically I was supposed to do a new show last year called Trophy Wife. So that one that you're talking about, thank you, it was about my dad and my son, and I wanted to do one about my mum and my daughter. But I feel like bits of it now. I did a weird preview for Leicester Comedy Festival a couple of weeks ago on Zoom. It just felt like bits of it don't exist in this world anymore. So I think I'm going to have to kind of work on something. I'll go out, like, I don't think it's going to happen this year in Edinburgh in its full thing. But next year I'll write a new one, and then I love writing our shows. I really, really enjoy the format of it, and like that kind of like narrative and that sort of mix of heart and comedy. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, definitely. That's on Next Up, by the way, if people want to watch that, Next Up Comedy.
Ooh, great. I can watch that again then. Brilliant. I just loved it. I loved how succinct all the jokes were, and it sounds like to anyone that doesn't like absorb comedy as much as we do, it's like a story and it's interesting, but it's like joke.
Oh, thank you.
Fully recommend watching that. So, Robin, thank you so much. We love you, but you can go back to the dining room and enjoy the trail mix.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
Yay, Robin Morgan. Oh,
did I show myself up?
Blessed. Pardon?
Did I show myself up? Did I do okay? Because my IT is really worried. Was I okay?
You're all right. You're all right, babe. I am relieved that it was Robin this week. Because I know Robin, I've met Robin many times, and he's so fantastic. If it had been someone I'm like, shit, I don't know. I'm sure I'll end up talking some load of shit anyway. Oh, it's such a lovely guest. I like it when we have, all our guests are fantastic, but Robin's particularly fantastic. So thank you very much. And breathe. Right, next up we have Old and New Comedy Review. When I find the video clip. Hang on.
You're doing so well. I am so proud of you, Bridgman.
Oh, thank you. I've even found it. Here we go. I love that little video. So this section of the program is when we take it in turns, me and Lucy, to suggest a comedy that we can watch and chat about the following week. So we call it a review, but it's not like oh, this is 5 stars. It's not like that. It's just going, oh, we've seen this thing. Do we like it? Do we not? Sometimes it's something that one of us really loves and we're like, please watch this. It's fantastic. Sometimes it's never heard of it. Let's give it a go. So last week it was Lucy's turn. Lucy, would you like to take it away? Shall I? Oh, hang on. Like, there's probably a picture, isn't there? Oh yeah, here we go. So Lucy, would you like to explain what it is? And I'll put the picture up.
I am not as technologically inept as I come across. I preloaded all these fucking pictures. So the other one, as a premise, it is a little bit like The Prince and the Pauper. So you've got the amazing Rebecca Front and Ellie White, and they're the posh mother and daughter. And then you've got Lauren Sucher and Siobhan Finneran, and they're like the common mother and daughter. So when the dad dies, the posh ones find out that actually he had dual families going on. and he named both the daughters Catherine. So they're similar age. They've got the same name. One is a Kathy, one is a Cat. And I mean, it is a bit of a normal juxtaposition against like the whole M&S versus Lidl kind of. But I mean, it was written by a woman. It is majoritively acted by women. And I think I saw an amazing meme the other day, because you know how memes are actually, they're the new Bible. And it said, I realised that female characters in films I didn't like were written by men. These characters, you can tell, are written by women. So what did you think, Sarah Bridgman? Did you like or did you dislike?
Well, my answer is going to be complicated. Okay. Now then, there's an awful lot about this show that I really, really like.
Okay.
And I actually watched. Have a fag, Lucy. So, she's having a fag. Right, there's lots I really, really liked. Okay. I like the writing. I thought it was sharp. It was very funny. Love the cast. The actors are Rebecca Front. Come on.
Come on.
The other one. What's her name? I've written them down. They're on the other page. Oh, that's it. Rebecca Front and Siobhan Finnehan. They're phenomenal. They're so good. And I know the other actors playing their daughters, also fantastic. I loved seeing the cameos from, we had Ted Robbins as a taxi driver in the first one. And you had Neil Pearson, if you remember him from Drop the Dead Donkey, Channel 4 many years ago. That's one we could pick one day if it's online somewhere free. Yeah, so great to see those cameos. And there's ones, it looks like there's one in most of them. And I watched the first episode, and what is advertised as the second episode on the BBC iPlayer, but it is actually the third. And I know that because when I had this opinion of this, I was like, I don't want to have this opinion if I'm completely wrong. I wanted to think it through. And one of the reviews on Google mentioned that, that the episode 3 is actually episode 2, because he was like, it doesn't make sense, and it's actually episode 2 because there's an awful lot happens in episode 3 that should have happened in episode 2. Anyway, so if you do go and watch it as a result of us talking about it, watch episode 1 and then episode 3 and then episode 2, because the BBC have put them in the wrong order. Anyway,
because it's really difficult.
Yeah. But if you like a challenge, watch it in the wrong order. I love the premise. Great premise. So basically 2 families, the husband dies suddenly, and straight away we find out that he's had basically 2 families. One of the families, he goes around once a week, although I don't know if you noticed this in the first episode, they mention, he's come around every Tuesday and Thursday, and the other family are like, we never saw him on a Thursday, because the original wife thought he was playing golf. And it's like, so there's something set up for down the line. It's like, who is he seeing on Thursday? And there was a man there that was like, surprise, at the beginning bit. And that's when the husband drops dead of a heart attack. So no spoilers, but I reckon I can guess what's going to happen. That's what I love about it. Love. I do have a slight hate. See what you think about this.
Go for it.
Okay. The portrayal of the so-called poorer family, right? So it's definitely chalk and cheese. You've got the posh and you've got the poor. But the posh aren't massively posh. They're just slightly middle class, slightly a lot of money, a bit more money, standard sort of, posh area, but not like if you know Swansea, it would be Sketty. They'd live in Sketty. They wouldn't be living down the Mumbles. They'd be living in Sketty. But the portrayal of the poorer family, I just hate it. It's stereotypical, it's cliche, it's lazy. They're portrayed as thick, as salt of the earth, and the mother is constantly smoking, and they wear leopard print, they're brash, nothing wrong with leopard print, but I like their living space, but they're very brash, poor taste, unemployed. And I hated that. And I just thought you could have either gone for gold and had the posh family be super posh, and then it would become a different thing. But it was like, the posh family, we're going to make them settle. but the poorer family, they're going to be if you imagine, stereotypical, they live in a council house, that it just struck me as someone who does not know that world, who only knows a slightly better off world, imagining what this world is like, and getting it completely fucking wrong, frankly. It really annoyed me. And it felt like it is a class comparison. I'm willing to hold a bit more judgment till I watch a few more episodes, because there was so much I loved about it. And there's an awful lot of Google reviews giving it 5 stars. So I wouldn't want to say don't watch it on that front, but it did jar in the first couple of episodes that I've seen. And I felt like some of it with Kat and Marilyn didn't feel believable either. It felt like it's really gone a bit far, really. What did you think, Lucy?
I think what you said has made me rethink of it. I do absolutely love our discussions on this, because you're right. Instead, what they should have said is actually, there's not that big a social difference. It's just the ones here think they're better. They're snobs. They think they think they're John Lewis and Waitrose. At best, they're Tesco finest. Whereas the others are little, and they know they're little, and they're happy being little. And yes, you're right. It does come across that the writers were writing a genre, or at least a category of person they didn't know anything about. And I think you could tell that has come across. You've made me reimagine the actual setup. We discovered this. I say we because it's always me and my mother. We discovered it at the very beginning of the first lockdown, and we boshed it. We basically chopped those shows up and inhaled one big long line of the entire series.
I watched 2, and I'm going to watch another 2 later on. I did really enjoy it.
This is not going to be. This is not going to spoil it for you, but you can see that what they're planning to do is to show that although the bottom ones aren't that rich, they're richer in their appreciation of each other and happiness. And that is done. But the last episode, I cannot give you any spoilers towards it, but I genuinely, my skin crawled inside and out my body. I jumped behind the sofa and I watched the last scene like it was Doctor Who.
Yeah. Was it good? Was that an enjoyable thing? Or was it like, oh no?
2 of us were just shouting at the screen going, no!
I do love it. There was quite a bit of awkward comedy in there. Like the 3rd episode, which I thought was the 2nd, the birthday, sublime.
Yeah, I because of the Ellie White, the Kathy, the posher daughter, I took a dislike to her as because I know too many people that like the ones that sort of don't say croissant, they say croissant. It just comes across as those like I eat paella instead of paella. They're that kind of people, and they what they have in money, they make up for in aspirations of just being better than everybody else. And those they irked me a little bit. I was always team sort of the council estate ones. I was always their side of things. I personally haven't liked a lot of the stuff done by some of the writers beforehand. So I was like, okay, I'm watching this because it's locked down and we have literally watched the entire back catalogue of the universe. What's this? And we stuck with it. And I have to say, I hope there is a second series. I mean, I will say yes to watching anything with Rebecca Fenton. Just point blank.
Yes,
could be anything.
She's
Because for me, she is not just a comedic actress. She is not just fabulous. She's also the chief. She is the detective in chief of the Oxfordshire Murder Department. So for me, she was more.
How good is she in 99? Like, she's phenomenal. She's in so many.
I didn't even know she was in 99. And when I saw her, I was like, yes.
Hello. When she goes, oh, do you like my dress? And he's like, oh, nice nightie. It's like, oh no, it's my wedding dress. Actually, I love that scene.
There are moments in this that are cringy, whereas in 99 they were actually scripted cringy moments. And this one,
it's all
accidental cringe. You're like, you really mean that to come across like that? But
there were some interesting choices. Yeah.
We have been
Go on,
saying,
you
come
go.
on, you've got the Golden Girls, you've got Rhoda, you've got the Mary Tyler Moore. We have got so few current female-led projects. They're not all going to be 100%. We just need to create more and more and more female-based, female-written, female-centric content.
Yeah.
And I have to say, bravo!
Yeah.
It was.
I'm going to good effort. I'm not giving it a round of applause because it really made me feel like, let's see. I've only seen 2 episodes, but it felt very much like we're meant to relate more to the so-called Potter family. I just feel like it seemed uneven watching it. It jarred me, and I'm like, it's a bit like, okay, Mrs. Brown's Boys. It's controversial because it's not subtle, and many people love it. But if you're a comedian, you're like, but why is it's old-fashioned, it makes dodgy jokes, right? But to me, it was like, well, the so-called poorer family, or the more common family, they are Mrs. Brown's Boys, and the other family are just in a different sitcom. It feels like they're in 2 completely different sitcoms. And it was an interesting, I'm like, that must have been a choice that they decided to go down that road. And I'd be interested to know, what's that choice? Am I massively missing something here? And the other thing that I find is a bit like bizarre with some of the choices, like the third episode with Stephen Tompkinson, and he's got super dyed eyebrows, super dyed hair. The first scene he's in, I'm like, is that a German accent because he's doing Nordic skiing? And then the second scene he's in, where they're in a restaurant, he sounds like Paul McCartney. I'm like, this is bizarre. I was like, what? I would have liked to have been there when he, is that in the script? Or did he turn up and go, yeah, I'm going to do my Paul McCartney impersonation? It's just bizarre. Just a bizarre choice. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I'd love to give Holly Walsh a quick ring and go, right, did you write this? And then it was taken out of your hands, and the director went, I'm going to miss it. It's my vision now. And are you appalled? Or was this what you intended? Because, yeah, very interesting choices. There we are. Holly Walsh, give her a bell, someone. Will she come on the same? Can answer some questions. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest. Well, I wouldn't say really. I will watch the rest of it. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. So that was our choice for this week. So thank you so much. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, because next week we have a very, very, very special guest. Fantastic, amazing, stalwart of comedy. Jenny Eclair is our guest next week. You saw correct. Only Jenny Eppin Eclair. And all week I'm going to be like this. I'm like, please come. Please don't go in the last minute and go, oh, I didn't know what I was getting into. Oh my God, I love her so much. Back in the day, I listened to her stand-up. I cannot believe, she's an author. She's, Grumpy Women. She was on Loose Women. She's a phenomenal act. So if you're a newer act watching this going, I've never heard of the woman, check her out. She's amazing. Cannot wait to speak to her next week. And actually, I haven't run this past Lucy, but I think it's fine. If anyone's got any questions for Jenny, do find us on Facebook or on Twitter. On Facebook, we are The Kitchen Sink. On Twitter, we are at The Sink Girls. I'll put that up on our chat just in a moment. So we're meeting with Jenny next week. So Lucy's going to have another go at the bat. Lucy, you're going to choose us for next week. So what are we going to review for our International Women's Day special?
Oh, you cannot get more of an International Woman special. If you go to the chat comments, you might. Oh, so I've done it on the wrong one. I put it in the wrong one. We are going to be doing Ursula Carlson, and that's Urzila. Ursula Carlson, overqualified loser. She is a South African person who is living in New Zealand. She has got her own Netflix special. And she has just done season 2 of The Masked Singer over the summer. And she is huge. And this is not as it comes out of my mouth. She reminds me of Rebel Wilson because even though she's South African, she's got the twang already, and it's amazing to hear her voice. And the opening gate, right? She tells a story that is so unbelievable, and yet it happened word for word to me. Whereas for her, it was funny and she made a bit out of it. And for me, I ended up crying to my mother at a hairdressing appointment.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing that.
And I mean, she's an international woman and she's got a Netflix special. So if that's not International Women's Special, I don't know. And then the reason why it's really good is because she's only going to be a kitchen sink guest on April the 1st. And this is not a joke.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. We got Jenny Eclair. We got Steve Spears in a few weeks. Ursula Carlson, that you can see on your own Netflix, is coming on the sink. Can you believe it? So please, share, tell your friends, like our page, like our Twitter, share us on Twitter particularly, share everywhere, let people know. And if you've got any questions for any of these amazing, fantastic people, please do email us and let us know. You can actually follow me on Sarah Bridgman Comedy, you can follow Lucy on Lucy Auto Comedy, and you can contact us via either of those ways. Is there anything else?
I know who get the Welsh tits out.
Any excuse. Oh my God, I can't wait to get this bra off. Right.
I know, but we like to have a chat, and we always say the chat goes where the chat goes. We've said this since week 1, but I kind of want to know about when Jenny started. Was she doing open mic nights in dingy clubs where she was the only woman? Or was there more female representation of comedians back then? But now it's just dipped because it's become a sausage fest. And I know it's really hack. I don't want to be like, oh, tell me how you started. But like, I want to know everything that's inside her brain. Like, has she had to clock anyone out? Has she made any points where she just thought, I managed to best them? Were there competitions when she started? I mean, she's not ashamed of being 60 because that's the name of her latest comedy special. So, she's proud of being 60. She's got the podcast Older and Wider. She's currently on Channel 4 on Draws Off, which is a painting show about nudism, nudist painting. And I just want to know everything that's inside her brain and like, can she just sum it up on how we can become her?
Yes,
because she's got longevity and she's got funny bones and she seems like she's not an arsehole in real life.
She seems so down to earth. I remember her saying once something, and it might have been on Twitter, it might have been a quote, it might have been in a podcast, but it was something along the lines of, she used to drive around in a van with these boys and then see them be stratospheric, and people like Russell Howard. So Russell Howard used to open for Jenny Eclair, and now, that's how fantastic. And she would, 20 years ago or however long ago, she would be touring all these big venues. It's like having Paul O'Grady on the show, or having, that decade's Peter Kay on the show. She's huge. So, so don't miss it. Come back 7 p.m. next Thursday night for our International Women's Day special, where we get to talk to the fantastic, amazing Jenny Eclair. And I, for one, cannot friggin' wait. I'm gonna have so many sleepless nights next week. It's gonna be so much fun. And I can't wait for you to go somewhere where your bloody internet's working.
I don't care. If it says update, I'm never pressing that button again.
What you can do, right, is order another laptop, and like, when you buy a dress and then you just leave the label on and take it back the next day, just do that. So you've got like 5 laptops set up, good to go, just in case, and then send them back when you don't need them anymore.
Like, I've got this little laptop on top of my usual laptop. Like, I'm in some sort of weird version of Inception with my phone on the side and stand up. And I'm just like, oh my God. And to think, I was like, I'm not pissing about this week. I'm going to do this restart so that my fucking computer doesn't give me any jip. And then it was just like,
I'm giving you all of the jip, is what happened.
I'm giving you all of the jip. I'm giving you her jip. Your jip is like Oprah standing there. You're having jip. You're having jip. You're having jip.
Bloody computers. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed tonight. If you have, I haven't put that on. Not that it makes any difference whatsoever. I haven't put any of our banner on to say to give us a coffee if you.
Darling,
if you
I think you're doing fantastically, and also I now know that you're capable.
Oh no, we're gonna have to take it in turns to drive to be Kirk, to be Captain
my
Kirk.
computer's not working again, sir.
I'll be like, oh, I don't quite know how to. Oh, you have to do it. That's what I'll be doing.
Which button?
Lucy, should we just take a moment to go, oh my God, we weren't doing this time last year. We didn't know each other this time last year.
No.
And now look, we're interviewing amazing, we've always interviewed amazing people. Can I just, if any previous guests are going, what am I talking about? We can even, like Lucy, what I love about Lucy is like, I'm quite shy, I'm quite shy really. I'm too shy to like go up to someone and say, will you be on our show? Before I met Lucy, and then Lucy's like, right, who are we asking? Sarah Millican. Let's ask Peter Kay, fuck it. Who else can we ask? And I'm like, I don't actually ask people. Oh my God, they don't anything new. And then and it just brings me along. And now I'm actually asking people in public and going, Janie Godley, come on our show, and Jessica Foster-Q, will you please come on? Sure, they don't reply. Fine, whatever. By the way, if you're listening, please come on our show. I'd love to have Jessica Foster-Q on the show. But I am braver as a result of knowing you, Lucy. I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, I couldn't do this without going, I'm new, but she's professional. She's the veteran. She'll vouch for me. See, I'm not no one. She's okay. She says I'm all right to talk to.
Right, enough of this love fest then. Everyone, thank you so much for joining in. If you did, and if you didn't, no worries, you got next week to join in. Thanks so much for our regular contributor, huge Anus and Danny, lovely to see you. Sean, lovely to see you. And next week we have Jenny, but we've also got Shani Thomas is coming back to tell us what she's learned. So looking forward to that. Fabulous. So all that's left is for me to find our outro before we say bugger off. So thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.
See you next week. Bye.
Well, that was the kitchen sink. Did we make you laugh? Did we make you think? You can now go to the loo. You can treat yourself to that great big poo. And we will see you next week. Yeah! See you next week.
Bye.